Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast, or welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast if you're tuning in for the first time. We've noticed we have a number of new listeners joining us. We find that out by following you in the Ninja Selling Podcast Facebook group, where many of you have joined over the last few weeks. And if you're not there, check it out. Now, there's also the official Ninja Installation Graduates Facebook group. And the reason I bring both of these up is they are the inspiration for our message today. I am here with my real life good friend, Bob Sutton. Bob is a master ninja instructor, and we're going to talk about trying something new. So, Bob, a lot of people know you. A lot of the ninjas love you. Tell us a little bit about who you are and your ninja story.
Well, Rob, that's interesting. And first off, thanks for having me here today. I'm super excited. Talk about a dream come true to sit here with all the ninjas on the Ninja Selling Podcast and being here at the Ninja office with you in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's just amazing. I have to pinch myself this morning. A little bit about how I got here. It's been a long road, and I tried a lot of new things along the way. For the ninjas that know me, you know that my life started out quite differently than it is today. I grew up in a mobile home park in North Fort Collins, and I didn't really know what kind of world was out there. I don't know if anybody can relate, but we were so poor, we didn't even know we were poor. We had potatoes and beans so often. It would have been nice to have beans and potatoes for a change once in a while. But I got very, very lucky. And later on in my life, shortly after high school, I ran into my 9th grade civics teacher, a man by the name of Mr. Keel. And his wife was a ninja at the group real estate. And as a 19-year-old kid, she helped me buy my very first house. And that embarked me on a journey through real estate. The next 10 years, as I worked at the limestone mine, she helped me learn how to invest in real estate. And after 10 years, I decided to become a realtor. Fast forward, I was serving in my local association. And at the holiday party, Larry Kendall came up to me and asked if I'd be interested in becoming a ninja instructor. And that was about 7 or 8 years ago. And lo and behold, here I am today working at the group real estate, selling real estate when I'm not on the road teaching and speaking for Ninja.
Incredible. Well, that is a life story in 45 seconds that has a whole bunch of new things or trying something new in there. You know, Bob, I think that the most interesting thing you said there is that you worked at a mine and decided to go from miner to real estate agent. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's a story we can't skip over.
Well, I'd been pretty successfully investing in real estate with Patty's guidance for several years. And I started reading the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books from Robert Kiyosaki, who Larry knew in the early years. And one day I sat down at my desk. I had earned the position of a supervisor by then. So I sat at my desk. I calculated out what my paycheck was going to be when I retired at age 65. And I looked at that number and I said, that just isn't going to work for me. Looked at what my real estate portfolio was doing. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to take a change of direction and leave the safe, stable job and go see if I can make something of myself.
You're going to try something new.
Going to try something new. Absolutely.
Well, going down the road of trying something new, there have been, both in our Facebook groups and in your life, there have been some trying something new things happening. And so if you don't follow Bob on social media, Bob goes by Ninja Bob, and it's not a name he gave himself. People just call him Ninja Bob. The funny thing about Ninja Bob is that if you live in Fort Collins, Colorado, there's a guy running around town who's the same guy that people refer to as Real Estate Bob. So he is he's like Teller. He only needs a first name. This is Bob. He's Real Estate Bob and Ninja Bob. And one of the things going on in your life right now is a new venture with Ninja Selling aboard a cruise ship. And if you followed us in the Facebook groups, you saw that we announced that there is going to be what we're calling Ninja Sailing. It's a play on words, where the latest course from Ninja Selling is being taught on a cruise ship. And that'll take place over a 7-day cruise where the ninja content, which is typically taught in 2 days, is broken out into a 3-day series. And then there's a whole bunch of other opportunities for ninjas to engage. So in creating Ninja Sailing, we had to make some decisions to try something new, right? And we often receive feedback that this would be a great idea, or have you guys ever thought about this? But there was never a system to how we would create something new like this. And so the first thing that we did, because we're ninjas and we're systemized, is we wrote out what would a process be to create something new within our organization. And I think what's funny about this is, as I've followed things in your life, Bob, I see these exact same themes in another area. So what they are is, number one, you've got to work with somebody who's done it before. If you're going to try something new, find a guide, work with somebody who's been there before. Number two is start with the end in mind. And three is have a crawl, walk, run approach. Bob, we're going to talk about ninja sailing today.
Sure.
And how we created that. But we're also going to talk about something that you may not know we're going to talk about, which is you are having puppies next week.
Yeah. We got the x-ray back yesterday and she has at least 12 in there. So it's going to be a big event here in the next few days.
So Bob's having puppies. And would it be fair to say that in your world, the process of breeding your dog was something new?
Absolutely. I've only ever had one dog that had puppies before, and that was about 30 years ago. So I don't remember a lot about it. And certainly things are different today than they were then.
Yeah. And is it fair to say also that you had a process to how you would breed your dog? So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's super fascinating, Rob. We ended up with this dog and she's a championship caliber dog. Her brother, her litter mate, is headed towards the Labrador Hall of Fame. And so we wanted to have a puppy from her. And we went to some of the owners of the other litter mates and see what they did, and landed on going through an artificial insemination process, which was completely new to me for dogs, but it's kind of the state of the art, the way things work. So we agreed on the stud dog with the stud dog owner, and they were on board. We started working with a vet down in Littleton. So it was about an hour and a half drive each way, going through the evaluation process, the genetics, all the health tests, everything like that. We finished up here with Colorado State University at their vet hospital here locally, and they're going to guide us through the whelping here in a few days. But it's just been a step-by-step process, a new learning adventure, literally every step of the way as we've gone through this.
And each one of those steps, you had a guide or somebody who'd been there before who was able to shorten that potentially costly and time-consuming learning curve, right?
Yeah, I think what you find in life and what we found through this process is when you're interested in learning something, there's usually other people that it's their passion. And most of us that have a passion in something are excited to share that with somebody else. And so quite often, a guide is there for the asking, or when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And obviously, we have to show that we're serious and committed to learning what they have to offer. We have to respect their time and their experience and their wisdom. But quite often, we can find somebody that's willing to lead us down the path if we're willing to follow.
And that was the perfect catalyst for the creation of Ninja Sailing. We were approached by an organization run by a husband and wife team where he is a full-time real estate agent and she is a full-time mortgage broker. But their passion is cruising, and they created a business called Off-Market Events where they have educational events for real estate and mortgage professionals aboard a cruise ship. And they said, listen, you guys have perfected the content. Let us perfect the logistics of doing this aboard a cruise ship. And so when Ninja created our Ninja Sailing event, which is Ninja Now at Sea, we partnered with experts who had been there before. So we didn't have to have a complete disaster of throwing ninjas onto the cruise ship at the last minute and hoping for the best. There's a complete process to how this works. So step number one, work with somebody who's done it before.
Absolutely. And Mike and Jen Otto, our hosts, our partners from Off-Market Events and CE at Sea, have been wonderful in being mentors. And talk about trying something new. My wife and I have never been on a cruise yet. So not only will this be my first time teaching on a cruise ship, it'll be my first time on a cruise ship, period. And it's been really nice to have Mike and Jen there to show us the nuances and to help prepare us along the way.
That's amazing. Step number two in this process that we identified is to start with the end in mind and then work backward. So let's talk about the Ninja Now at Sea version of that. When we collaborated with you and said, here's what this could be, we talked about it as if it was real. We said, imagine that there's 100 ninjas boarding this cruise ship and they're going to collaborate and create their own community, a professional network, and some genuine friendships over a week together, seeing some amazing destinations. But woven in throughout that are the things that we facilitate, like the courses and a bunch of organic things that will evolve. So tell us a little bit about what we anticipate will happen aboard Ninja Now at Sea and how we started with the end in mind.
One of the end things that I've had in mind for the last 7 or 8 years that I've been working with Ninja is I love Ninja. I love the Ninja installation. I love our 1 and our 2-day events, but I never feel like I have enough time with the Ninjas at the end of whatever time we have together. And so personally, I've always had it on my heart to how could we create a community, like you said, a group of ninjas. And not only do we have time to learn the material, but we have some time to work together to implement it, to massage it, to really absorb it. And Ninja Now came along largely for implementation strategies from what you've learned in the installation, then to be able to take and put a group of ninjas on a cruise together for 7 days where we learn the Ninja Now material. And then outside of that, all sorts of optional opportunities to have dinner with one another, to have, some evening visits in the hot tub. We're going to do morning gratitude walks together for whoever wants to join us. My wife's going to guide a book club on the cruise. There's going to be just so many extra opportunities for us to just collaborate and build relationships, which is what Ninja's all about, right? You don't have to look very far in the Ninja Nation to find somebody that'll guide you on something you want to try to do.
Right.
And that collaboration, the relationships, I'm excited to see what all is going to come out of this because I think we know what's going to happen. I think it's only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. In many ways, we have never paired Ninja selling with rum drinks and the scent of sunscreen, right? So what's going to happen? It is subject to determination once we get there. But this cruise sets sail April 5th out of Port Canaveral, Florida. And anybody that's interested in looking at the cruise, visit ninjasailing.com. That's ninjasailing.com, not ninja selling, but ninjasailing.com. There's a lot of information there and a very clear path to take the next steps. And that's one of the things that we wanted to create for people is a very clear path, right? Because this is a bigger commitment in some ways than showing up at your real estate office on Tuesday morning when the Ninja class starts. There's some logistics that go into it. And Mike and Jen have done a tremendous job of putting together an easy to follow and a systemized approach to booking your cruise, getting signed up for the course, and all of the other things that have to happen so that you can enjoy your time on that boat without any stress or drama. So step number 2, we said start with the end in mind and work backward. Let's apply that to your current dog situation. I think it's an interesting story and it really connects how our personal lives and our professional lives can benefit by the methodologies of Ninja.
Yeah, well, my wife and I, we love our dog that we have now. We feel very grateful and fortunate to have that dog. And I've always said her biggest challenge, her biggest drawback is me because she knows way more about being a dog than I do. And we love her. She's the best dog we've ever had, but we wanted to improve upon that. So we thought we'd start with a puppy from her. And with the end in mind, in our dog world, there's this thing called the Triple Crown. And I believe at the time of this recording, there's about 32 dogs that have completed the Triple Crown 2 times. It's only been around for 3 years. So it's a very, very exclusive club when you think of how many millions of Labrador retrievers are in the world. And we have this vision of the new puppy. Her name's going to be Rue. There's a whole nother story behind that one. But she's going to be, our goal, our end in mind is to guide her to becoming a Triple Crown winning dog. And so we wanted to start with obviously the right foundation, the right breeding, the right genetics, the right, and we've got trainers on board. We've got a social system on board. We're members of clubs and things like that, just like you do when you build a business. It's very similar.
Yeah. You start with the end in mind and work backward, right?
Absolutely.
Well, the third step that we put together in our process of trying something new is called crawl, walk, run. And I think most people are familiar with that because it's the development of a child's mobility, right? And that crawl phase it's interesting. The crawl phase is sometimes seen as the hardest, but in many ways, it's actually the easiest because you can go really slow. The stakes are low and in many ways, the risks of falling over are pretty eliminated when you're only a few inches off the ground, right? But it does set forth a path for muscle memory creation and what we in Ninja would call habit formation, all of that, so that we can walk with stability and once we're ready, take off running. And I think so often in business and in life, the idea of overnight results and things that happen immediately is so tempting. And, we live in a society where hustle culture has become attractive to people, right? Rise and grind. But there's really not a lot of people talking about let's rise and do the foundational things that will open up opportunities for us to build relationships and add value to people's lives. Instead, it's rise and grind, right? And let's talk about the idea of crawl, walk, run as you were putting together an idea for a new thing. You hadn't bred a dog in 30 years. What was crawl and where are you today?
The first thing was to start asking the people that knew what I wanted to do, how they would do it. Begin there. And then we built the relationships. We found the dog to breed to. We began to follow the system, and we're even now implementing the system before the puppy's even born. But with the end in mind of this amazing Triple Crown winning dog, it still starts with the basics. The puppies will be born this week. They'll be with the mom for 8 to 12 weeks. Then they'll have puppy class, learn to sit, to stay, to walk on a leash. I like to say we all have a first day somewhere. None of us are as good at what we do. We weren't as good the first day as what we do as we are today, right? And so I think it just goes back to our Ninja principles. You mention it all the time, Rob. There's our stone tablets, and our stone tablets are our Ninja 9. And we go back to those basics every single morning before our feet hit the ground with gratitudes.
Yeah.
And we build our days off of there, just like we build a puppy from choosing how it's going to be bred to what its first puppy class is going to be, with the end in mind several years down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Bob, let's talk about crawl, walk, run as it relates to putting together an event on a cruise ship. The easy part of doing that is Bob showing up and teaching the course. He knows the material. He's a master of this. You've seen it all. You've got deep smarts in the real estate space, tons of experience, and you've been a master ninja instructor for 5 years now. That's the easy part. The rest of it is, how are we going to take what we have there and build on that while still having the foundation of those stone tablets that you talked about? Where do walk and run come in? And I'd like for you to sort of detail some of the things that you think will happen on this cruise ship that are planned out for ninjas to engage in, because I think those are the walk and run phases of this.
I would agree, Rob. And it's been very interesting learning the nuances of putting this together and executing it. Again, that's where our mentors, Mike and Jen, come in handy. They've been invaluable in that process. I believe coming as a ninja is your crawl. You've got the basics. You've been through the 4-day installation. You understand, you've implemented some of it. I believe Ninja now gives us the tools to begin walking. That's where we're going to really drill down. Peter Parnig said it best. The installation is 200 feet wide and a few feet deep. This is going to be a few feet wide and 100 feet deep on the powerful tools that we already know, but we just need more time to implement and really fine tune. And I think that's what's going to begin to really start to happen on the cruise, because we're going to be immersed in Ninja. We're going to do fun things. We're going to stop at the ports of call. We're going to go have plenty of fun. But while we're going port to port, we're going to have a lot of time to brainstorm, to mastermind, to bounce ideas off of each other inside and outside of class. It's going to be a pretty intimate setting. It's not going to be a gigantic class. And I really think there's a lot of magic in just how we're going to build this. And I believe the momentum is going to build. I think the book club's going to build. It's a wonderful opportunity to bring your family. It's one huge difference about ninja sailing, which I love that term, versus going to your average ninja installation or even your 2-day ninja now. This one is an opportunity to bring your family. Now, they won't be in class with us, but they're invited to all the ancillary opportunities. So it'll give your family a chance to, we're going to have a night to build a life list together and some vision boards. We're going to have an event for spouses of ninjas, because we go to Ninja, we get all excited, we come home and they're going, what's a life list? What's a real estate review? They're going to have a chance to network with other spouses and partners of ninjas to say, what's it like living with a ninja?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just so many little intricacies and nuances that we don't have the opportunity to put together all the time, that it's going to make this an extremely special experience.
Yeah. And that's where I think the figuratively hitting your stride, you're walking and you start to run. In ninja terms, that is probably where you break away from sitting in a classroom and working with somebody to where you start to have a mastermind. We've always said that the magic of ninja selling is when we no longer show up and it gets better. It's why the system has been timeless. Yes, there's these stone tablets, but the evolution of the system was not just the work of Larry Kendall or our team. The evolution of the system is what ninjas are doing. They show that it works. They prove it can be scaled, that it's a repeatable thing. And they bring it back and say, hey, look at this refinement. That is where walking turns into running. And I think the most magical thing that you're going to create aboard that cruise ship is a mastermind. You're going to create people that say, hey, I have really struggled with this piece of ninja. And somebody's going to say, I struggled with that. Here's how I solved it. And here's what I do now. And the light bulbs will be going on.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Rob. There's an old saying out there that as human beings, I feel like we overestimate what we can accomplish in a year, and we grossly underestimate what we can accomplish in 3 years and 5 years. And as far as ninja and business goes, I've always shied away from the term accountability partner. I feel like we're hard enough on ourselves. But what I love about ninjas is we're encouragement partners with one another. And the beauty of life that I've found in my own business, my own personal life, and that I see other ninjas find is a lot of times things that are difficult for us at first become our strengths later on. Because I don't know if it's the forged in the fire, or you have to work hard to attain mastery at something you desire to be a master at. But the things that are challenging at first often become our strengths later on. And to have that guide that might be in your mastermind group with you on a ship, where you have time to sit and say, I'm struggling with my real estate reviews. I was where you were. Here's what got me to where I am today. All of those little things. It's just a value that I don't think we even understand yet until we've done this.
Yeah. It's kind of a misunderstood term. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, and sometimes has a negative connotation.
Mm-hmm.
However, bring your squeaky wheels.
Yeah.
Right. Though, bring the troubled parts of your ninja world to us, because it's not just Bob. There are going to be 100 people aboard a cruise ship who are on the same path that you are. Some of them are going to probably be better and some of them are going to be worse, but everybody's going to be like-minded around collaborating and building a community instead of just what's in it for me.
As Larry always says, there's way more talent sitting down in the room than there is standing up. And the beauty of ninja is the ninjas teach me more. I go and I guide an installation now. I get more from the ninjas than I'm sure they get from me, because there's magic in ninja. We've hit a critical mass. There's enough of us out there practicing things that it's beginning to take on a life of its own. And it's really been amazing to see the transformation in the short few years I've been involved with ninja. And this is just the next step in this. This is going from the crawl to the walk to the run.
Yeah. And you are spot on, Bob. We knew the magic would happen when the ninjas started doing this without us,
Mm-hmm.
right? When people would come to us and say, hey, we'd love to do this aboard a cruise ship and we'd love for Ninja to be part of it. And that is a pretty amazing feeling for them to say, hey, we think we can pull this thing off and here's how we would do it. And we said, great, we got to work with somebody who's done it before. We've got to start with the end in mind, design that and work backward. And we've got to crawl, walk, and run. So, Bob, what else do you want to share with the ninjas today?
Some of what I've learned about this cruise experience, it's a little different. Many of our events, if they're an open event, you get a plane ticket, you buy a ticket to the event a week or two or three ahead. Let's face it, we're all realtors, and sometimes it's difficult for us to do long range planning. One of the nuances of the cruise is we need a little long range planning. The cruise ships book early, and you think about the logistics of getting everything on a ship that they need for however many people are on there. So I would encourage you to commit to this early. We know what we focus on expands. Set your mind that you are taking your family or your loved ones, whoever that is, on a cruise, and you're going to use it as a time to invest in your family and in your business and in yourself and experience a very special opportunity. That's why we opened the event registration so much earlier than we typically do with Ninja events. So don't sleep on the opportunity. Don't wait for that. It's critical that you get your place on the ship now so that you can enjoy that investment next spring.
And visit ninjasailing.com if you're interested in this. I'll give you a little bit of the process, right? The first thing you'll do is you'll attend one of the information sessions. They're taught via live. Jen Otto from Off Market Events will walk you through all the pieces of signing up for it. And you'll do two things. You'll buy a Ninja Now course from Ninja Selling, and you'll buy a cruise package. Jen will help you every step of the way with that. But the reality is you got to have that done sooner than later. Now, the great news is there are payment options associated with that. So to book your cruise, you don't necessarily have to pay for the entire thing up front. And we realize that we're talking about something that's happening almost 6 months from now. We get that. But Bob, you're spot on. You want a good room. You don't want to be stuck in steerage, and, and you're going to have an amazing time. So make this commitment to at least go to an informational session and see if Ninja Now at Sea is right for you.
I love that, Rob. I think that's very wise.
Awesome. If you haven't connected with us in the Facebook groups, remember that your commentary is what drives our content. So if there's something you want, post it up there. Just search the Ninja Selling Podcast on Facebook or Official Ninja Selling Installation Graduates, and we'll see you there.
Thanks, Rob. I'll see you somewhere along the Ninja path.
If you enjoyed this episode, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com to learn more about ninja selling classes and coaching to get you started or further your journey on the ninja path.
Thank you for joining us. Now go have an incredible day.